YouTube. It's your boy Nintendo checking in with you guys. No, I'm just kidding.
But today my rant and review of the day is gonna be physical media and game key cards. You know how I find them shocking. How as a consumer we've gotten very like far from owning. I got incarcerated during the transition of the PS3, PS4 era, and with the PS3, you were still owning games. You know, you downloaded the game, the full content was in the disc and whatnot, and yeah, that's really shocked me a lot. You know, me as a collector, as a consumer, if I spend 70, $80 on a game, I want to own it. You know, I don't want to depend on the servers to allow me to play the game because then it's just a license. And I think this form of uh, aggressive address towards the consumer on behalf of the gaming industry has kind of in a way destroyed from preserving content. I'm pretty sure they're preserving their content, but for the consumer and the gamer, they've made it virtually like impossible on most media. And you know that we can't own our content or preserve it, and I kind of find that unfair, especially for those people that are spending 70, $80. And I think that's the reason too why a lot of people have lean towards piracy. I don't condone it. I actually condemn it. You know that destroys the gaming industry, and I like to support the gaming industry. And second of all, I want to own my games. I like to purchase and hold and collect. Like this is a real game right here, Donkey Kong Bonanza. This ain't a real game, and you know I would like to get it instilled into the youth, most importantly, because they're the ones that are being introduced to this and they find this perfectly normal, game key cards and whatnot. And it's not, if you purchase something, you should be able to own it and it shouldn't rely on the internet. Maybe, if they want to extend it and whatnot and add a little bit of more DLC, that's fine. But like for it to be highly dependent on it, no. I find that, you know, I find that like crazy, I find that crazy. And I want to really advocate for physical media, and like I say, why would somebody spend 60, $70, $80 and be like the minute that this gaming this gaming industry, whether it's Sony or Nintendo, they choose to shut down their web server, I will no longer be able to play this game. That's why people do lean to piracy. They're like, well, I can get this ROM it, make it into a patch and dump it and have the full game content without relying or depending on web servers. I'm not here to condone it. I condemn that. Please don't do that because that does take effect on the gaming industry. So please purchase your content, your material. It supports it and it keeps gaming alive. Um, but I asked Nintendo and Sony because those are the only two products that I play. I asked you guys to please focus on physical media, to hear out the people. The people, we don't want game key cards, or digital media. I mean, yeah, we'll settle for digital media. I'll settle for digital media if it's like the game is $20 instead of 60, $80. Okay, then I don't mind paying $20 to have licensing rights to the game. But if I'm gonna pay $80, I better be able to play it whenever I want. And that's not gonna be the case once the web server shut down. Yakuza Zero, which is a $50 game, I'm not gonna be able to play that no more. It depends on the web server system. So this is something that has me a little skeptical. Donkey Kong, guess what? I know that once that Switch 2 server goes down and people long gone forgot about it, the whole game is gonna be in here. The whole game I'm gonna be able to play it. So that's a good thing. With PlayStation 5, wow. I think every game is virtually a key card, especially because their content is so huge in memory and storage that they're not gonna put nothing on a disc. I don't even think a Blu-ray disc has the capacity to hold virtually all the information that they have in their games. But I think they need to figure that out I like the subscriptions. I think subscription is a very very wonderful thing. I think they that is where they make money and the consumer is happy because you pay $20 a month for PlayStation, or you can pay 150 for the top tier, and you have a whole year, and they give and access to a vast amount of their library, and that's basically renting it. I agree with that. It's like we know what we're getting into, but when I'm purchasing the game and it's telling me that it's just a license, and then we're having issues as a consumer, and I have protested a few games because of that. There's some games that are very irresistible, but that has stopped me a lot from gaming as well. And what I do is I'll just wait and wait for the game to go on sale on digital media, because what's the point? I'm not going to own it once the servers go down. The game is down. That has stopped me from purchasing a vast amount of games, but the gamer in me doesn't fully allow me to boycott or protest. But yeah, it's been a big change, drastic change from before being incarcerated until after being incarcerated. I feel like that this new gaming world is changing very very fast, and I'm mainly concerned for the new generation because a lot of youngsters and kids, they're being born into digital content and digital game key cards, so they find that normal. And but someone like early 90s, 80s, maybe even early 2000s, you guys know about owning a game. You were well playing within the PS2, GameCube, Xbox era, or before that. You own the game. The content, that disc was on there, or cartridge, whatnot. So that's that's something that we really really do have to make sure we speak up on. But other than that, gaming has gotten wonderful. I think gaming is very advanced for its time. I think we are in an era where we're pretty much almost hitting our plateau. Some people obsessed with technology may be like, yeah, you're tripping, but I think there is progression, but I think we're pretty much up there. I look at some of these base PS5 games, and the graphics are pretty astonishing. I'm like, wow, they look borderline realistic. I think we're almost there. I think once we hit 8K, 120 hertz capacity, which I think should be available for the PS6. Well, they'll probably do PS6 8K 60 hertz, and then PS6 Pro 8K 120 hertz. VRR. But I think that will be a time when gaming will be at its very very max plateau. And then another thing that I had to take into consideration, even though I was out for the PS3 era, and you had to have a nice HD TV with a good processing rate to get the best out of your PS3 games. That's another thing nowadays, that you got to have a lot of money on top. Let's say you just spend $700 on a PS5 Pro. You easily got to have a 4K TV that supports over 120 hertz VRR to get good gaming. Now that we're in this era, I think you can get a nice 4K TV that supports 120 VRR at a decent price. But about 3 years ago, they were still pretty pricey. And that's something that has me a little concerned. Um, like, how expensive is it gonna cost once I buy a PS6? I think my gaming screen is gonna be have to be more expensive than the console, because it's gonna have to support 8K, at least 120 VRR, and if you're looking at big bucks. If you want an OLED, I still think they're gonna be in the $2,000, $3,000 range spot. Me personally, for gaming, I will never buy a gaming screen. I won't buy a gaming screen, and the reason I tell you is because I'm old school. And I feel like gaming screens are for computers. TV screens is for gaming, for game consoles, you know. So my main focus is when I buy a PS5 is to get a TV, not a gaming screen, a TV that supports 4K, 120, you know, VRR and whatnot. Not a gaming screen. You know, yes, some of the technology of VRR comes from, you know, computer gaming and whatnot, but um, since I'm a console guy, I buy TVs because TVs are meant for consoles. Yes, we make consoles not compatible with uh, wide quad HD TVs, you know, which is that 1440 resolution. But for me, no, I'll rather just play my consoles at 4K. The TV I have right now, it supports input of, it's a 4K QLED, you know, it's a poor man's OLED. Its native rate is up to 144 gigahertz refresh rate. It supports VRR up to 144. So for a base PS5, it does the job. Even for a PS5 Pro right now, if I had a PS5 Pro, this TV would perfectly be able to maximize the output of the PS5. You know, so and of course my the Switch to this TV, you know, wonderfully brings it out too. But that's another thing we have to take into consideration in modern day gaming. Not only do you have to spend about $600 $500 on a gaming console, but you also have to make sure you have an up to date television that can support the output that the gaming console distributes out. You know, and that's another thing that was shocking for me and new and interesting. I really find the best TVs out there for me. I consider is the Samsungs. Those are very nice. The Samsung's OLEDs, the LG OLEDs, Sony Brevias. Those are always nice. Um, now, you know, me personally, I don't have none of those TVs. I have a TCL QLED, but it's pretty nice for it being a TCL and brands up there. I'm telling you, it's right on there. It's a Q77 model from Costco. You know, Costco takes care of its people, so that's a nice TV I have that can support my game consoles. And yeah, man, that's a whole different ball game when you purchase a new game console. So since this TV is only 4K 120 hertz, I'm pretty sure that the PS6 is gonna distribute 4K 120 or 8K at 60 hertz, you know. So it still be supportive, but it won't be able to bring out the best out of the PS6. So by then I would have to focus on getting another TV, and you know that's the problem with being a kind of a low income gamer. You know, being on a budget. You know, you can't just always get everything you want on on time, on board, or and stuff like that. For example, everything I have in my room is all used besides my electronics, my game consoles, and my TV. But like my sound systems, my speakers, got them from a thrift store. My receiver got it from a thrift store. You know, and then I just connect my receiver to Bluetooth, and then that's how I Bluetooth my television to get my sound in. Believe it or not, my acoustic wooden Kenwood speaker boxes sound better than these new Bluetooth sound bars. I'm not just saying this because I have one. Uh, I just have a ear for wooden box speakers. How they give this beautiful acoustic sound. You know that's uncomparable, fresh, crispy, deep. Um, but yeah, you know, like for example, me, I would like to get the Mario Party Jamboree, but I'm in a situation. Do I get the Mario Party Jamboree? I already got the Donkey Kong. I already got the Yakuza, and I already spent a lot of money on the Switch too. So it's like I need to slow down on that console. Plus, there's a few games in the PS5 that I'm looking forward to, like Ghost of Yotei. I'm a big Ghost of Toshima fan, so I'm not just gonna get the base or deluxe digital. I'm going for the collector's item, which is a good two notes that I have to save up and some change, and that's another sacrifice that I'm taking in my hobby. You know, I wish I would be privileged where I can buy a bunch of games and whatnot, But unfortunately, I'm not. I got to go out there sometimes and recycle metal, copper, separate it, and turn it in, and that's how I'm able to indulge in my hobbies, of gaming and whatnot. So man, I'm already starting to save up for my PS5. I mean PS6. I'm not lying. I'm already putting $30 a month up. We got about they say it might come out 26, 27. I think 27, 28. Because the PS5 Pro just came out ending of last year. They're gonna give it a good 3, 4 year run before. So yeah, I say about 2028 we're gonna have a PS6. So I've been saving $30 a month, and I'm looking about 360 saved up by the end of the year. In 2 years it's gonna be another 660, and 3 years we're looking about 990 saved up. So I'm right on time, saving $30 every month. For my PS6. So that's something that I've been having. Why I don't purchase every game out there. I think the next game that I'm gonna get for the Switch 2 is most likely gonna be the Metroid Prime. Any other game console that's third party that is on the Switch 2 on the PS5, without question, I'm getting on the PS5 because it's just a more stronger, better console. But I mainly got Nintendo Switch 2 for its first party. They're wonderful with other Mario, Donkey Kong games, Mario Kart Racing, their Pokemon games. They bring great nostalgic memories, and they have this place in my heart while always support Nintendo. That those were my first gaming consoles I had was a Nintendo and then a Super Nintendo. So that what did everything for me. And I'm wishing to share this experience with my daughters. They're only about 2 years old, and we're at the beginning lifespan of the Switch 2. So I'm hoping the Switch 2 has a lifespan like the first Switch, about a good 6 to 8 years, and that'll be good to get my daughters introduced and keep the family tradition of being born into a Nintendo in your household, and gaming. So, folks, let me know what you guys think about physical media licensing and this new age of licensed media, physical media. Hit that smash that subscribe button, that like button. Let me know in your comments what you guys think. Sorry about my little stutters and all that. My mind goes off. But take care. God bless you guys, and I'll be back with some more content media.